Good evening and welcome to Champions Network TV, the channel of choice for stories that inspires and empowers. Tonight we have a very special panel discussion on a topic close to all, all our hearts: women in leadership and innovation with a distinct African perspective. Africa is a continent rich in talent, resilience, and vision, and women are at the forefront of driving change and breaking barriers across all sectors, from entrepreneurship to technology, from governance to creative industries. African women are redefining leadership, sparking innovation, and shaping the future. Leading our conversation tonight is the incredible Soko, an entrepreneur, an author, a public speaker of Zimbabwean origin, who will be joined by seasoned panelists with diverse experiences and insights. Together, we will explore the unique challenges, opportunities, stories of women in leadership who are transforming Africa and beyond. So stay tuned as we celebrate, challenge, and learn from the trailblazers paving the way for a more inclusive, innovative Africa. So I welcome you. Soko, you can take the center stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Today we are going to talk about women in leadership and innovation. We are going to talk about leadership in small cases, leadership in big cases. Because when we say women in leadership, even when you are leading your family, you are a leader where you are. And we are going to celebrate that. We are going to talk about women in leadership in all sectors of businesses, in all sectors of politics, and in all sectors of life. Innovation, we are going to talk about women innovation spirit in our communities. What are we doing, ladies? We need to talk. And before we even start, I'm going to invite other ladies to join our panelists. If you are listening wherever you are, send a message and you will be paged into the studio so that you can also give your thoughts on this leadership and innovation. Whether you are a man or a woman, we all need to hear what you think. We need to hear your leadership and innovation spirit wherever you are. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you very much. And welcome, Wumba.
By the province.
Wajina Magadi.
Vambara Magadi Kakombe.
Vachinge vanhu kwavo
Mati.
vanotanga vachinge vanhu kwavo
Oh, okay.
vachazoti vatidzirwei muchaona zvedu
Pakanaka.
kana zvati dziye
Okay, my first point of call is on the topic itself, women in leadership and innovation. Why is it that suddenly it has become something that is being highlighted? Kuti mudzimai azoita chakati, mudzimai azoita chakati. I think we would have agreed patakataura nyaya gender equity. But then why is it that we still keep on so highlighting on the woman? Is it that the equity is not being followed? Kana kuti maura kuti overtake ana soko. Maura makasarira.
You are approaching it from an academic point of view. Tokuziwa urema syllabus ke.
Chimboti taurwa idzidzo new syllabus.
Yeah. So you are approaching it from an academic point of view. Academia is about exploring the archaeology of anything. You are trying to hide behind a small tree saying, oh no, we shouldn't be talking about women as a singular platform. We should start talking about a generic platform. Tikakutsvata mbejana ipapo unenge wakutora zvimwe zvinhu manje manje. And we know that. So the core issue iripo ndeyekuti okay, chinonzi innovation chacho chauri kutaura chi. Why is it the topic is been specifically married to the performance of women in leadership?
Yes. Good, you're right. Ipapo what do we do?
Maziso akuenda kureka.
Mabvunza wanachibvunza exactly wakanaka iwoyo.
Saka bo.
We are not highlighting women in leadership more than men. We are trying to encourage women. We are trying to encourage women to step up, because if you look right now, even in the UK, for example, there's still a salary difference between men and women. There's still that thing that if you see a woman pilot, we're still celebrating that.
Not
Why?
in UK.
I didn't say in the UK.
Okay.
But if we still have that thing that, oh, she's a woman, but she is an engineer. She's a woman, but so that equality, although the gap is closing, the gap is still there. We had a young lady on here the other time who's a mechanic. Mm-hmm. She's a trained mechanic, and she was saying in a class she was like the only girl in a big class. So we are still paving that way for women to go into these sectors that way, basically for men only.
You should remember women are at an informative phase as a gender. Zvinotaurika nevakadzi about vakadzi zvekutaurika. We are talking to inform. Maona. Ndopamuri imi vakadzi vazhinji vacho. You want to talk about any subject to inform. Isusu tikutaura kuti when we qualify some of these items, we don't talk to inform. We talk to influence. There's a big difference between talking to inform and talking to influence.
What's the difference?
Right. The difference is between a bath and a shower. That's the difference. When you talk to inform, you're basically highlighting strategic efforts pertaining to anything. It is going to be done this way, that way, this way, this way. Influence is no formula. Influence is a felt need perception that is delivered in any way you want it. Teacher anaenda kunoticha mwana anenge aine lesson plan yake. Influence haidaro. Influence is about felt need. Zviripo ipopo, and then you deal with it. Saka mimi wakadzi muri pa level yekuti zvinhu zvinofanira kufamba nekuti tiri vakadzi. Zvinofanira kutodai because we are women. You are missing the influence bit.
I don't think so. I think the topic we are talking about women who are in position of leadership and are also being in innovation.
What constitutes a position? Position. What constitutes a position? Position ndiweka. I thought position ndiwe. Munotomirira kuiswa paposition. Iye sokuwa muri kutaura iye. I know she's a big advocate when it comes to kuti munhu anofanira, somebody has to be endorsed. Yeah, she's very passionate about it. Why are you waiting to be endorsed as opposed to endorsing yourself? Imakuti mimi saka amen.
Because I find I work with women quite a lot. I find women, most women, we wait for validation.
Yeah.
You have to kana ndapfeka hembe yangu ndobvunza kuti nei yakanaka. You have got eyes. There is a mirror. Can you not see? Why do you need somebody to endorse kunaka kwehembe yako? In that case, then we wait. We wait for somebody to validate us. To say, oh yes, you are a leader. Go on, yeah. But we know we can do it ourselves. This is why we worry a lot. Most women worry a lot about what people think.
Not women only.
But I've heard a very sad story today of a young man here in England who was second year doctorate degree. He failed and he went and killed himself because his parents mafundisi akasiya anyora tsamba yekuti andidi kunyadzisa wabereki wangu nekufoira second year of his medicine degree.
But he pay pressure.
Yes, no zvandikureka vanhu vanozoti situation. Vanhu vanozofunga kuti iko ndikadai vanhu vanozondiseka. Plus situation yandiri ndekuti ndiri mwana womufundisi. Vanhu vanozoseka baba wangu kuti mwana womufundisi wafeira. But that
all right, kumfundisa anoba. All right.
Yeah, exactly. We wait for that validation. To live for the people. Kuraramira kufadza vanhu.
Okay.
Baba ukweda vachite ayo.
But aren't we saying that there is a follow-up on what has already been happening? Yekuti originally, or the long back, the women were taken as minors. And then, no, but okay, but you might say by choice, but initially it was something that was actually a legitimate thing to do. But then after realizing that it was not right, they were then put on equal platform with the men. But still at the back of their minds, they still want to move back or look back. And then as a result, they end up being dragged. Like what you did.
Jenna. Silence is a concept. Persuades. I'm going to remind you. Actually, I could remind you. Those Simba. Silence persuades. Right? And because they are the weaker vessel, they get persuaded. Emotion moves. I remember once upon a time when I was reading books, I was told silence persuades, emotion moves. Panakanduza umwe professor in the Colin Summers. Akanditaura izvozvo and I have never forgotten that. Silence is a persuasive tool. Emotion is an activity too.
And you find also kana tomboti mukaucha chaimo I've met a few men vanotaura kuti ndingamborora iwe une nharo, you question, you talk too much, kanotaurisa akagarike nako saka unenge uchida kunzi unyarara nditi woita sort of submissive sort of situation yekuti mukaucha medu mune zvakanaka mune zvakaipa. pane zvimwe zvokuti unoona kuti waudzvanyiriri. Saka when you talk hapana kamborora zvakadai vanotaurisa. Saka unopuhwa mbirivi nevamwe vakadzi kuti vanotaurisa zvo.
Saka are we saying kuti munhu anotaurisa is an epitome of leadership?
No, we are not saying that. You are silence is persuasive. Ndokunzi kakanotaurisa nyararai imbogarai pasi kani musakambe muchibvunza mubvunzo nyararai ndikutotsinhira zvamataura.
Okay.
Because leadership means our question. Leadership. There are a very few projects that happen within our circles as women. They say, we are going to do this project. And if you go there and say, okay, how is it going to work? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Unotobudiswa mgroup.
Aya wanuti ameno baba. Takamira una baba.
Vangobvunza zvakawanda. I want to understand. The whole point of let's do this is so that I understand. Tombotanga tambonobvunza ana baba kumba. Ana baba vacho vese vakuya different ideas.
Maybe we should go back to basics. Leadership, what is this big animal called leadership?
Ndichiri kumashure zvakuda kufolowa nyaya yenyamukitsana nare. Ndachitoenda zvakumberi kuti right, all that having been said and having been seen, we should actually have tried to see the people that are actually doing something that everyone can see. This lady is leading. This lady is an innovator. So that we can actually find out maybe from them to say, how did you manage to get to that stage? Or what is it that you are doing that is making you to be successful as a leader, or that is making people realize your innovation? Because, at times these women, the women, they innovate things, but because they are wives, then the first person point of call is maybe the husband. Then at the end of the day, the husband might even claim that innovation and then publicize it as the person who has innovated it. That's why I was saying, at least you should encourage the people to use our chat box and give the ideas of, because some people can be there, because these women.
Hello, Moyo. How are you? I want this leadership. I want to talk about this. My granddad was a sub. And it is people bring their quarrels, their whatever grievances, and they would sit men only. And I was young. When I was a young girl, I would bring them water, so I would listen to these stories when they are talking. So and so's kettle is eaten in so and so's field, sort of village stories. Anyway, my granddad would never give an answer like that. She would come home and he would tell his wife, this is what happened. This story came in. This story. Wow. This one is a tough one because that guy and that guy, they will fight. And if they fight, I know they will kill each other because they are both very hot-headed. And my grandmother would say, okay, when you go, you say this one, and say this one, and calm your voice and do this. Thank you, my wife. And my grandmother was one of the quietest people I know. So who was leading?
Right. I'll answer you. Vakadzi, one knows community perspective. Zvinoitika varume vasipo vari kurwa vari kuita makuhwa vari kudini vese they gather all that data into this massive database. Saka murume can be at two places at the same time. Saka kana akudzoka, because remember Men are hunters and women are gatherers. Saka kana adzoka akabvunza shasha iyi kuti chii chaachichiitika nhasi. That's a very, very strong statement. And as usual, unoti hapana, tangoenda kumunda tikazodai imi zviri papi zviri. Avava vanogara kugawa vaonekanidzwa nemukadzi wemunhu. You see, those are the sort of things that come in a secondary spectrum. But varume vanjika, they gather that as an academic perspective in problem-solving approaches. Zvataurwa zvese saka tokona kudai chidai tikadai sezvakataurwa namainingi. Saka ivo manjika vakadzi become the reference point in any topic inenge ichitaurwa in any domain. Saka when we talk about leadership, we are basically interrogating the environment we live in. Imuri kufungidzira kuti munhu anotaurisa Sterling ndiye leader, haasi leader. Ko akanyarara kuita sei?
Okay, so which means what you are saying, we should come back to that. The question that you had asked me about leadership, to say what is it that leadership entails, right? Absolutely. Now, if you go back to the dictionary, if you look at maybe a dictionary explanation or definition, we would say leadership is the ability to guide, influence, and motivate individuals or groups towards achieving a common goal, of which most of these things, they are attributes of a woman. Women are very good at doing that.
Is that your perspective? Because that's yes. Not mine.
But that's what I see most of the time in myself. They might not be on the forefront, but just a step back, but directing, influencing, and motivating. Because I know people like mostly maybe we talk about myself. Because at times you feel like you want to give up, but then the women, they motivate you. Go on.
Who motivates them?
So that's the motivation that is needed in the leadership. So which means if eventually I go up and do something, that person that has motivated me then becomes the leader according to this definition.
So
that has influenced me.
So it's true that behind every strong man, whatever,
it's a strong woman.
I believe so. I believe so. Taking from that definition or that perspective of the leadership that I've just explained.
Let's hear there is one who is considered to be a leader from Rwanda. Let me see.
I can't hear anything unless it's.
That audio.
There's no audio.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not an audio.
Oh.
Okay. Because I think where we get lost is when we look at leadership. Not actually defining leadership. Because no one going to be wakasundidzirwa wakajegerwa nechigunu mashuri. saka chikunwe ichocho ndolidha urikosunwa uchienda unokonzi afesi yako senge dzedu fesi yako jena iwo kana pamberi pavanhu aiwa vanhu vese vanogona kuteerera because vakutarisa but hakuti enda ipapo wacho ndiye watokutaura nezvake.
Okay.
handizvo here soko
Peter.
kuti anenge akukujegerera kuti anenge akukujegerera wacho ndiye leader ari kukusundidzira kuti ifamba so.
There are some people there are some people who are very quiet. The influence and they
Quietness and influence of everyone. You never use the same in the same topic.
Anokupa ziso ngoti ziso ngoti ba ukuona ya makombe mapfawa manje kana mama kutaura stereki.
Influence. You might just be working, doing your thing,
tokonya tikumuona baba. Ari wari dine video yake mu
Mamati soko.
Anga wakatwa neyekoka. So do we have samples of people that we can say these are women that are in leadership? Yeah, it says women in leadership.
Why you to appoint somebody leadership is an evolving syndrome. It's a continuous process. Rumira kuti the leader in real time. Zaunotaura ipapo the essence of your leadership style.
Is leadership the same as it's no longer echoing. Is leadership the same as power? Are we talking about women in a position of power?
Okay, let's put it back to you. What is power?
Like politicians, like people.
I see. In
others.
Power is politics. Okay?
I said like. For example.
Like West.
Saka power chi.
Tikutobvunzei. Ndimataura nyaya yepower.
Ndachibvunza mubvunzo kamatondidhaivheta makubvunzo wenyu musati madaira wangu.
Ndine urombo tiregerei.
Munotanga mambodaira wangu kamwe mukandida ndatovhiringika.
All right. Sorry.
Ndachibvunza kuti is it the same as women in leadership? Is it the same as women in power? You're on mute, Jen.
I think we have all agreed that it should be leadership is all about influence.
For power. ndizvo zvakafanana.
What constitutes power?
Power is capacity to do something, ability to do something. The energy that comes with power, ndo yamuri kutsvaga imini.
So
That's political power.
is it the same with women in leadership? Is it the same as women in position of power? Is it the same?
Why are you categorizing it?
Because jenanga achitika toda kuti tiedze vakadzi vari muleadership. Ava ndobva vatirakidza mukadzi ari mupolitics. Saka
All right, mukadzi ari muleadership, for instance, anogona kunge aine energy asina power.
Ndosaka ndingobvunza, ndoda kungoti mungonditsanangurira.
Ndatopindura ipapo. Ndakutaurirai kuti women are gatherers, men are hunters. Ndopamunofanira kutangira ipapo. And understand the concept of...
You are muted.
Anyone?
Jena.
Jena are muted. Bambo. Apart popota.
Okay. Finally. Makunzwa manje.
Yeah, we can hear.
I think kwa Jena ndo kurukuba echo.
Kuno.
Yeah.
Is there any echo in what I'm saying? Right now.
Most likely,
Okay.
Jimmy broadcaster. I must go to Bobo. Yo, Soko, you've been to environments, right, where you assume the position of quietness, but that doesn't mean you are not powerful. One. What So the methodology of power energy zvakatosiyana. Ukaona mukadzi wemusika akatanga kupopotera iye papa ane energy imwe yamusingambodi. Kunozouyawo umwewo anoti mai mwana chiregerei kudaro. Ane power imwe munhu iyi. Ane energy capacity to pacify that one. So those are some of the things we need to understand as we go. Because ukada kutaura kuti mai nhingi haiwa waya watafu waya havanolida vanogona kutonga waya haagoni kutonga. She's just available. Ndosa kana vachizouraya nayo.
Jena taura iva vari serious vada kutaura.
Aiwa vari kudziva ka.
I think it's right. I was it.
Saka video yenyu yaramba here Misha.
Ningirekene Jena kana vakaisa vari pasiri vari unmuted inoita echo. Vakanga vakamutwa haiiti echo.
Saka video yenyu yaramba here kuita. Video yamada play.
A video nenda play ayo. Ndea mai weku Rwanda. The Minister of Health.
Kana mazopedza izvo ndoda kuti mundiudze kuti ari powerful here kana kuti she's a leader.
Okay.
Kati ari kuitawo basa rake.
Yeah. apa mninja makusekere nenda kuti soko makusekere kana kusekera
mbotarisaiwo inini makombe mbosiyai soko
kubotarisa zvakada delicate taura dziri kusekerera wena ndikati
The right to health is not a joke. It's part of the right you have the day you are born. Global health is to public health exactly the same revolution that 100 years ago public health was to clinical services. My friend Paul Farmer says, don't feel trapped with the failure of imagination. Search, dig, and find a solution for those who have no chance to be educated, no chance to have the money. Give them health and the possibility to own their life and to work for it. It's something good we can do for the world.
This one is somebody who is doing a job, no leadership whatsoever.
But she's thought as someone who transformed the.
Aiwa, muri kumutora sedoctor ka. Aiwa, sadaro misha. Muri kumutora sedoctor ka. Doctor doesn't mean you're a leader.
Where we are taking from is she was the one who is accredited as transforming the health sector for Rwanda after the genocide.
Does that qualify her to be a leader? Or it qualifies her to be somebody with some knowledge? Knowledge is power.
Does it not give you the ability to lead?
No. It positions you to make certain decisions, preferential positions, preferential decisions.
Vanhu vacho hamuna kwenyu mukatungamirirwa kuti nemadofu hedu kutungamirirwa nedofu haana kana ruzivo. Vane knowledge vacho knowledge haina pane basa inotoziya zipi.
Imukada kutungamirirwa nedofu here. Knowledge evolves kasoko.
Yes, I know.
Zvamunoziva nhasi hazvisi zvamunoziva mangwana.
Yeah.
That's why I'm of the impression that hakuna chinonzi good choice. Because choice evolves. Chamunoti choice nhasi, good choice nhasi. Hachiti chiricho chinenge chiri choice yakanaka mangwana. Choice is continuous process. It's continuous assessment.
But tese tikanyarara tikazvimyuta jena ombotaura tisina kudaira ndokuti tisaite echo.
Yeah.
Because ane shungu
ndikataura so zvikuzwika manje ndizvo. Okay, right. Uyu munhu uyu anga achitaura this lady like what Makombe was just saying kuti munhu anenge ari vantage point pekuti she has been placed there to do a certain job that she is actually delivering. But when we look at a person who has got some leadership qualities or some innovation, it must be a drive that is coming from that person, irrespective of a position. I'll take, for instance, there was that lady, I don't know, munyika yepiko, akari Muslim, akatanga kuti vairamidzwa kutaura, kana kuti public speaking kana kudii, akasimuka akati, no, this doesn't work. See, those are the kind of people vatingatizo vanenge vachiita push through the odds, or they end up influencing the other people. Because remember, we said when we're talking about the leadership, we're also talking about influence. Right? Or that difference you were asking for, Soko, about the leadership and power. We're saying when it comes to power, we're now talking about trying to influence behavior. Right? That's what we talk about power, and actually having the capacity or ability to actually push on something. Right? But now in what we are talking about, we are talking about the leadership or the leaders and innovation. Right? So we're trying to look at what is it that is expected of women to say they're actually innovators, or what it takes for them to innovate something without what you were saying kuti anobvunza kuti zvinoita here izvi, zvinoita here izvi, toda munhu anotomira kutobulldoza kuti this is what we are going to do and I'm going forward and let's follow this. Then we say now those people are actually on the front of the race. Right. Okay, but no unmute kuti mutaure. Okay.
Ndichitsinhira pamabva ipapo because variko vari in leadership positions vari kurara mumaofisi umo vasina change yavari kumbouya nayo, handizvo here? Varipo maleaders vakasarudzwa chaivo nevanhu varimo muleadership positions vasina zvizhinji zvavari kuita. Saka kana ukaita leader woita innovation as well yekuziva kuti nzvimbo yandiri I can change lives, I can make things happen. Use that leadership to make things happen for the good of your community. Kwete ngonzi ndimaifundisi vasina zvavari kuita, ava ndivo minista vedu ava vachingozora poda vari ipapo vasina zvavari kunyatsounzwa kuti
Okay, I think we are mixing some things here. When we're talking about innovation, right, we're talking about someone who is bringing a new thing that is from the start, from the scratch, right, or a new method of doing something. That's what we mean when we're talking about innovation. Hatingatizo munhu ari kubereka mwana tomuti ari kuda kuinnovheta kubereka mwana akatanga nazve ndiye atakatanga tichi anga ane innovation akainnovate. So we're looking at those women that can actually start new things from the scratch or from nowhere, from their own brain, to say this is what we are doing.
Okay, in that leadership position, but leadership yachona iri yekungonzi vane office vane chinzvimbo. Leadership wekupiwa uye pasina zvokuleader zvatiri kuona kuti vari kuleader handiti. Kana even toti ndiye teacher, unogona kuita head teacher usina zvauri kunyatsoitawo zviri kuoneka zvine kumeso, wakutoputsa chikoro instead yekuti chibudirire. Saka variko vari in leadership positions vasiri kushandisa leadership yacho zvakanaka zvinobudirisa macommunities avo. Innovative, I don't think it's something you learn. I think people who are innovative are people who are born with it. Okay, they are born with that curiosity to see a problem and think, how can I solve this problem? how can this problem, I'll give a simple example. There's a woman somewhere, I think in Kenya or somewhere, who started making bricks out of plastic, recycled plastic, things like that. People who see a problem and think of solution. There's a shortage of this and this in my community. How can we get it for our community? Like kunemana jena mnorima. And there are many ways kurima kana kuti types of chibage, for example. Chekuti, because there's my seasons are kuchinja kana kuti chinokurumidza kuibva kana kuti things like that. Tingarime sei kuti zviitire nyore. That's being innovative. Okay, I've got too many tomatoes. What else can I do? Okay, regain to mese mamu, regain to crash in the tomato sauce, regain to, but adding my bigger solutions. I want to go to now to try and solve problems in your community, or even just in your household. But okay, so
pamapedzesera apa ndipo panga pari kumbosaririra manje papo pekuti we are looking at two big things tichikanganwa kuti you can start from the household level. Women are leaders in they've got that leadership quality that they portray in the household. Yekutsvaka muriwo chaiyo iyoyo yekuti munhu anopererwa kuti tichadyei pano nhasi nesadza rinozikanwa kuti riripo hatitori nei zvanhasi, hapana chakati, but ukazona munhu anzi pazongobigwa pazongonzi nhasi idyai negwatakwata.
Systems operate in a circle, right? Any system yamunoda inoperate in a circle. Museko mune anonzi ma-undefined leaders nema-defined leaders. Museko mune positioning, right? Mune vamwe vanhu vasingatauri asi varimo musangano. They don't say anything, right? Nomwe anotaura stereki, right? Nevamwe vanouya inonzi mystery effect. They're neither here nor there. Saka that salad combination inounza a competitive environment. Ino-encourage kuti munhu ataure. Kana usiri strong enough unogona kutaura usina basa. Kana kuti hautauri. I'm coming to the point ya Mr. Jene kuti mai ndo wanodetermina kuti tiri kudya riri kudyiwa nei and so on and so on. Mai vakasataura kuti hapana mavheji kana uchi hapadyiwi here pamba papo. Are you telling me kuti hapana chinoitika? Panodyiwa, right? Environment create a suggestive thinking. Necessity is the mother of environment. But because imimi murikupa uyu unsurpassed privilege yekuti mukadzi ndiye anobika, saka ndiye ane subsequent mandate yekutsvaga kuti tiri kudya nenyama here kana tiri kudya nemavheji. It becomes historical. It becomes a routine exercise mazuva ese kuti tichanzwa mai. Pasina mai panotobvunzwa kuti mukoma muri kubika nei nhasi. Chiriko. Saka positioning is something we don't understand. It's a very complex institution yekuti kana uri musituation uri kuona chii, what are you assessing, what are you observing, how, why, what, when and where. Zvinoita here kana zviite. You have that interrogation with yourself kuti avari kurasikawo, but hautauri kuti vari kurasika. You look at a finer way of portraying whatever you're trying to say. Zvangofana munhu atsikwa nemunhu haata kuti vakuru manditsika, awanditsika anoti ndaisawo gombo rangu pasi perenyu. What, oh sorry. Zvinhu zvakadaro izvi. Saka each system in a language theorem yayo, in a ground rules ayo. Zvekuti tikada kungoti mai kana wasina kutaura hatidyi pamba ipapo kana wasina kudecide kuti hatisi kuuraya huku haiurayiwe hazisizvo. Imi muri perpetuating systems amunoda imimi, which are very, very dangerous in the sense that you position munhu into what we call remote control. Munonyatsoziva kuti mimi ndimune mari yenyama. Saka uyo achataura kuti tikuda nyama asi hapana mari. Imi muchati all right, regeza titsvage mari. Kutsvaga mari is a model of power. Munopa uyu mari. But that doesn't mean that she's powerful. She's just positioned to activate my tasks. Samur kudai mimi.
Ngatimbonzwa uyu anonzi Divine Simbi Lukula kuti tingamuclassify as a leader kana kuti kwete.
Wekukula
we akatanga security company, and then did quite a number of things for Zimbabwe.
Okay.
That were not there. I know you're past stage, but
to the region, there's one piece
are still grossly underrepresented in the security industry across the globe. But in Zimbabwe, one woman took on a male-dominated industry, creating one of the most successful companies in the country. In the process, Divine Ndlukula not only wrote her name in history, but she's changed the face of Zimbabwe's security industry.
Divine Ndlukula is used to breaking glass ceilings. Back in 1999, she decided to start a security business on a kitchen table, but there was one problem. The industry was dominated by white men.
I actually didn't even have the security background. That was one. There was no track record, and obviously being a woman, certainly there was that prejudice that there's no way I'm going to survive in this industry. But obviously, you know, business it's not about the sciences, it's about the passion, about what you believe in, that red hot burning passion in your guts that will pull you through.
That passion was sparked by a recognition that there was a gap in the market for quality services, but few had the confidence that a woman could start a business in the sector, thrive, let alone survive it.
I started obviously by getting work from people that I knew. It was not easy, just with no track record. There were people that said, okay, you can come and just cut my house. You can just come and cut the block of flats where we live in. And we just ensured that the uniform design, the way we trained people, the culture that we inculcated into the people was just different from the usual culture that was in the industry.
In no time, the company took off, but there was another hurdle to overcome, giving other women opportunities in a field that was not perceived as theirs.
Clients were not interested. They were, in fact, you know, it took even getting the women to convince the women that were coming into the organization. This is why I personally took it upon myself to train them, to have them change their minds in terms of how they perceived this work.
It was a hard sell until one company agreed to take women guards and noticed a reduction in the number of thefts.
And it spread like wildfire. And now we are proud that Securico is the largest employer of women, permanently employed women outside government in Zimbabwe. We employ over 900 women permanent. And for us, that is one of the proudest things that I have achieved in this business.
Women are now dog handlers, unit commanders, gunners, and management. The company employs a total of...
leader and innovator.
She's an entrepreneur.
She's a business person.
Yeah, she's a business person. She's not a leader.
She's running a successful business. Can we then say that's leadership, or she's running a business?
She's running a business. She's an entrepreneur.
Because
Business is a science, guys. Ona soko ndikakuisa paenvironment yavanhu 10 matraits ako as a leader anobuda ega, because une organizational structure yaunounza to a system kuti uyu ngaagare pasi, uyu ngaadaiwo, uyu ngaambonyararawo. Those traits just ooze out.
Because I think we look at people with money as leaders, or people who are better off. Isn't there a difference?
Marichizve
ndinoda kuti ndibondidaira kuti vanhu vanenge vaine upenyu huri, vanhu vane mari vari kuita entrepreneurs, are they leaders? Is it the same?
no, mari is a different ball game.
Can you say a successful entrepreneur is a leader?
I won't say that. I'm not sure about that.
Ipopai Jena Mkana.
Jena.
Okay. I think on that lady, there is also an element of innovation, because there is a culture that she inculcated in the employees, apart from making the clients accept the lady securities. Those lady securities were a special type of training that was different from and that by being different, that brings that little bit of some innovation part of it, which is also part of entrepreneurship. Because an entrepreneur should also be innovative to sustain the business. So we can't say completely that lady is just an entrepreneur with no innovation or leadership qualities. Though she has both. She has those leadership qualities as well as some innovation that she also has in her head that is pulled through.
Okay. Jena wanga usati wapedza. Jena utaura. Makombe, you're on mute.
nhasi misha ari kuda kutamba nechinhu ichi. Soko you are on mute. Hatisi kuziva zvawataura, taona uri kuda iso saka tizive.
Amati arida kutamba nechinhu ichi, ndikatamba chidembo musi kwendaka.
Taona kuti atamba ane nguva achiita zvaari kuita izvozvo.
Ndatoita ndiri mute, ndichitozviziva kuti ndiri mute because
Ngoona hana zvakunzwa.
Tanzwa ndani verbal clues dzenyu kuti pana zvamuri kuita kuseriko.
achitoseka ndichitambisikadzwa. Sorry madare.
Right. Takuita tichienda kunopendera. Ana Nashko, hauna zvauda kutaura here zvekuti ucontribute uinowo kuti watimhoresa ukataura kuti vamakombe vane dama ravataura. Hauno zvako here zvaunoda kutiudza pamusoro pe-women in leadership and innovation?
Ndofunga arara.
Let's try to wind up, but tatenderana here kuti leadership chi, innovation chi, and what can we do Is leadership and innovation important? And if so, how can we develop people who are innovative and who also have got leadership skills?
Institution chese chinotanga neeffective communication. If you can communicate, you can lead. Right? Communication on its own is not enough. Your model of communication has to be effective to change things, revolutionize things. Tibatana. Kana mabva ipapo, right? You must have a brand agenda. Tikutaura nezvei. Most people don't have a brand agenda. Ndosa vanhu vachizoti ameno zvinhu zvacho zvakangoma. Zvakangoma means tapererwa nezvekutaura. That's what it means. Basically. So when we start thinking about leadership is process interrogation environment yauri. And zvaunotaura iwewe audience yako ichazvigashira kana kuti haizvigashiri. So you position yourself in a circle of friends whereby you get up and say, look, ndoda kutaura nezvakati. Mukaona vanhu vanenge vachida kutaura pamatare vanotaura pamusoro pemadzishure zvandiri kutaura zvinenge zvisina hazvo basa. That's a role model. It's a wrong model totally. Kana uda kutaura urikuzvitaura kuti hazvina basa. Zvine basa. Unotofunga kuzvitaura. Unokosimuka kuti ndikuda kutaura kuti out. Vanhu ndo vachakuita crown as a leader through appraising zvauri kutaura kuti zvaari kutaura anotaura uya. Next time ukataura unoziva chimbonyara chimbonzwawo jena chimbonyara, because you create a brand that way. Ndomaonera rangu.
I come carrying questions. Is leadership different for men and for women, or is it the same? Do women leaders get the same respect as men? And do women leaders take criticism? How do we deal with criticism as women leaders? And what makes us leaders as women? Do we fight for that position, or are we born into it? Just question.
Your ability to communicate puts you in a position where you can highlight what you want to highlight. Ndopa zvinotangira ipapo. Hauti bauda kuwedza kuita leader kuti ndizonyasa so unofanira kunge uri confident in your agenda. Kana usi confident, then leadership yacho. Because remember, in whatever you're going to do, interrogate the environment yauri. Responder. You may not see it, but kudaira.
I think Jenna, what out?
Taura, Mr. Jenna.
Okay, yes. Right. Not to address our questions, but watch I think I've been na sokwa. Madzimai like zvamugezi kumbotaurwa naMakombe kuti panomboita kaishu kekuti vanoda kusimbiswa pane zvavanoda kuita. For instance, zvakachitaurwa zvokunzi ndoda kukuudzawo zvangu nyaya yangu but hainayo basa. But aiwa madzimai vanoita vanosucceed in leading vanhu vanogara vangouya vari bold kuti this is what I think should be done. And it must be done this way and that one. No compromise. That's how you find those are the characteristics of women leaders. Havatorane nonsense and havadi zvokuudzwa kuti baba nhingi kuti baba nhingi vari kuti zvakati. Because the first thing is they believe in themselves. Good, what I'm doing is right and it will give us the right outcome. And they don't need anyone's emotional support because they know what they want to do. So
Then
yes, that's what Misha. But Mahamute Misha.
how does it differ from dictatorship?
When you talk about dictatorship, mostly what brings that boldness is they already know from the previous in the history kuti they are looked down upon. So in order for them to clear that cramp that is crashing on them, they have to come out very outright kuti this is what we must do. It's not necessarily kuti it's really dictatorship, but that's one of the ways people will eventually follow, not by cohesion, but by understanding. Right?
Zvakanzi noumwe you have to be prepared to be led to lead. Hamena akambochinzwawo here ichocho. You have to be prepared to be led to lead. Saka umuke uchiti nini ndoda kuita ndoda kutonga ini chichi. Wambogona kutongwa here. Have you excelled as a subject yeumwe munhu kana yeimwe organization? How do you respond to the dynamics of kutongwa leadership? Ku Highfield kwakuine vamwe mai mashonganisa. I don't know whether muchivaziva. Wanga uri MP, wanga iri nickname yekuti Mig, wanga ane bhucha ravo kumastonzi uko. Vaivava mamai vavo. But wanga usina leadership, but wanga ane energy. A lot of energy. She created a massive following one waiwa bigger because of her energy. Not because white this and that and that. No, just now substance and content. But vakanga vari munhu ane energy. Saka energizing my systems hazvirevi kuti wakutonga system. Remember, we've got several examples. Mema Hoffa, she was very good at what she did. I remember historically, wakatamba 2 or 3 hours solid, exerting energy. But was she a good leader? She was even an MP. Was she a good leader? Ipabandizi, tosira wana jena.
Right. Let's now wind down. We have been talking for more than an hour now. So I think we do what we normally do. I think this is a very important topic where we put our closing thoughts in terms of leadership and women in leadership and innovation. What does that mean? And how should our societies nurture or encourage people to, I don't know whether it is taking on leadership role or develop leadership capacity. So as we close. I think Jenna, if you can go first so that I'll mute you then.
Okay. Right. I think from my own perspective, ndinoona kuti madzimai vachine that attitude yekuda kuti vaite kunechwa kana kutsvaka munhu anyatsa vati itai so ivo vachida futi basa racho iroro. I'll give you a typical example. So to pane a cooperative yakaitwa AGM yekuti vanhu vakubviswa kuchipotanga vamwe vanhu vanyowani. Vanhu vanozorealize after about 1-2 positions have been filled vositanga kuti there's no gender equity but makazara madzimai. Munhu anenge kuzitaura kuti saka toita sei kana vasiri ivo vacho vakasimudzwa kuzarudzai munhu vanozarudza gender. So it becomes very tricky kuti vanhu ava tichazivi kuti izvo are they being pushed to get there, and then if pushed to get there wozochidii manje kana wagara waita zvekuendeswa ipapo pacho. So I think the bottom line is these women should realize kuti hakusisina zvekuswera vachinzi izvo vafuridzirwe. Pakavhurwa kudhara kuti pindaiwo, grow up, do everything. Don't sit back and expect someone to lift you up. The same like zvinongoitawo varume. So that's what I can only say about leadership and this innovation. These ladies vanofanira kuti kana afunga kuita chinhu ngaaite chinhu chake, ngaasakurumidza kucheuka mudhuze, because there will be a lot of people that will be pulling them down, and especially because of the background yagara ipo yekuti madzimai anenge achingonzi saka the next person you are asking ndiye one of the people vari kuti saka wazobvunza munhu ari kuti iwe wobva wangotiwo wobva wagara, then you won't go anywhere.
Thank you. Who goes next?
I always want to keep it short and sweet. The psychology of thinking, to tell Rabuti, convince anyone within your domain. You don't talk to inform, you talk to influence. That should be the mantra we carry around. You go places is when you do that. For you to lead, you must be prepared to be led. Those dynamics are very important in any professional development or social development. I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to direct this to women. Are you a leader? Do you think you're a leader? If you are, what kind of leader are you? Are you growing as a leader? How are you leading others around you, good or bad? Or do you want to be a leader? If you want to be a leader, what's stopping you? Is it because you're waiting for validation? Is it because you're waiting for permission? Is it because you don't feel you're enough? Just question to women. Ask yourself, which one are you innovating? Are you innovative? Do you have something in yourself that you feel can help in any situation, but you keep quiet? Why do you keep quiet? Why are you standing back? And what makes you stand back from being innovative if you have got it inside yourself? What's stopping you being a leader or being innovative? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. And I think that was quite an interesting topic where people have got diverse views. And we've done justice to it by coming from various angles. First of all, questioning the topic itself. Why do we have to talk about women in leadership? Is there anything special about them? And then we dive into looking at some who might have been thought as leaders, and we question them. Does political power mean they are a leader? Does being entrepreneurship means you're a leader, or does having money means you're a leader? Those are really questions that we need to continue questioning ourselves. But as a closing remarks, I'll summarize what our panelists has come up with. Jenna, he wants women to change their attitude to leadership. You don't need to be validated. You don't need to put forward the men when there is gender inequality in whatever is happening. And they gave us a very live example of what has happened today, where women were pushing men to take position, but then realized that there's gender inequality in the composition of leadership. So the door is open. Women should realize that it's now what defines you. Or Makombe will always say, the I concept. And Makombe is very short and sweet. Whenever you open your mouth, open to influence, not to inform. And if you do that, you can go places. And you will never be a leader unless you are prepared to be led. And the Soko is a very powerful words to the women out there, where she questions, if you are a leader, what type of leadership are you giving? And if you are not a leader and you want to be a leader, what is stopping you? Do you still need validation? Do you lack innovation? All those are questions that women should be asking themselves. Even man, if you are aspiring to be a leader, those are some of the questions you should be asking yourself as well. So with this, I think we shall continue to question. It should be a conversation within ourselves to really go back to see how do we define leadership. Because unless we have got a very clear understanding of this, we will always think those with the money or those with the position of power are leaders, where from our discussion today, that does not define leadership. According to the Leonard Makombe, it's about talking to influence, not to inform. So with that, I say good night from all the team at Champions Network TV. Continue to like, to share, and to subscribe to Champions Network TV.
Thank you.